Welcome, Hervey here. Computer programs have without doubt taken an unprecedented place in our lives, be it for our health, our food, travels, and much more. Some of us wish they could learn how to program, but are simply frightened of the idea. Can I do it? Is it rocket science? How much mathematics do I need? Am I too old? Is it too late? I've never been a gadget person. This video doesn't intend to teach programming, but to show the essence of what it is, and most importantly, to show that you too could get at it if you wanted. When someone is programming, he is really trying to translate a reality of our material world in a way that the computer can understand, so that the computer helps us take care of few things in a way that's efficient to us. If you travel to Benin, a beautiful West African country, you may need to find someone there that speaks English so he can help you with the locals. Computers speak a language in zeros and ones, not the kind of language most people get excited about. We need an intermediary to speak with the computer, a sort of translator. In the computer world, translators come in all shape and form. We will be using a popular programming language, JavaScript, or commonly known as JS. Alright, let's start. So here what we're going to do is open a web browser. So you open a web browser and we go to CodePen. That is a website. So you can search inside of your search engine CodePen, hit OK or enter, and then you can click on this link here that says codepen.io. What this is a text editor, as you can see here, and you can write some kind of code inside and the browser will execute the instructions. Now let's click on the Start Coding button on the left here, and you'll see three boxes, and each box is dedicated to a language we can use. We want to use the JavaScript language, which is here. So let's just drag this thing to the left. Okay, that's great. And we have more real estate to work with. And let's locate the console tab that is on the bottom left part of the screen. Click this and just bring it up here. So basically, these are the two windows we're going to be using, and we will see how they work in a minute. Now here, before we continue, I'd like to let you know that the computer doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know where to look until you teach him. You have to teach him everything. So now, let's teach the computer a few things. So you see, I do this sort of / and then I write something here. This is my way of telling the browser or the engine that is running this thing we are using, don't consider the text that I have there. So this isn't code that you have to execute. This is just me writing something for my own sake. Okay, so let us consider a rice cooker. Who loves rice here? Rice cooker. So what does the rice cooker do? The rice cooker cooks rice. Now, rice cooking is one function of the rice cooker. The rice cooker has another function, which is basically to keep food warm or to keep the rice warm. So we have two functions. We have cook rice and we have keep it warm. Basically, those are two functions of the rice cooker. Now, what's going on in JavaScript? We have many ways or different ways to tell the computer what we want. So we have functions, we have variables, and we have parameters. Now, when I tell my rice cooker to cook some rice, I need to give it something to do the cooking with. I need to give it some electricity and some ingredients. So let us just focus on the ingredients for now. So let's say, so we want some salt, some rice, some oil, and some water to be able to cook our rice. So those things that you see here, salt, rice, oil, water, are the parameters of the function cook rice. So those are things that the function needs to be able to do its work. And then for keep it warm, parameters for keep it warm would be some cooked rice. Okay, so we want some cooked rice to be kept warm. Now, let us come here and say cook rice and do this. Don't worry about the red thing here for now. Now, cook rice like this with the parentheses and this semicolon you see there. This is our way of telling the computer that we want to use a function that's called cook rice. Now, what's going on right now is that the computer has no idea what we're talking about. Okay, just cook rice. Okay, what you mean? All right, so what we mean is we need to do this. So this is how you tell the computer what a function that you're calling here means. You define the function saying cook rice, okay? And when the computer sees something like that, you see you have no more red stuff. So you have to come here and click the clear to see if you still have some errors. So now the computer knows where we want him to look. Okay, so we say cook rice, we want you to look here and execute any code that is inside this block. And those brackets that you see here are our ways of telling the functions or telling the computer that my cook rice function starts here and finishes here. So do everything that's inside. Just like in a French sentence or in an English sentence, you have to start with the capital letter and then you have to end up with a question mark or any mark that you want. Okay, so this is our way of telling the computers we want you to start here and finish here. Now, as you can see, we are seeing nothing here. Nothing is really doing anything. So we have to tell cook rice, actually, we have to give him some steps that he will take so that we can have our rice cooked. Now let me do something. I will do something like this and then use something like this and put my semicolon here. So let me explain what's going on. As you can see, this log thing looks like this cook rice stuff. So this is a function. This is another function that the computer understands, and you have some brackets here, and in between the brackets we have to give him the parameters with which he has to work. Now those signs that you see here are called backtick. Those are backtick signs, backtick quotes, and you can find them on your keyboard on the left of the number 1 keypad. And inside of here I can put a sentence. So I'm cooking some rice, and you will see at this point that there is a sentence that says I'm cooking some rice. Why? We're telling the computer use this function, execute this function for me please. So he comes here and he says, okay, let me see where this function is defined so that I can know what to do. So he comes here and he looks inside, and we are basically telling him go and search this window, which is console here, and then make him print whatever is inside here. And this is why you see I'm cooking some rice. Now we want to know what we're cooking the rice with. Okay, we want to know what is it that we're cooking the rice with. Now we need some ingredients, and the ingredients will be the parameters of our cook rice function. Okay, our ingredients are here. Now, how do we tell this thing that's here that, okay, I want you to also display the ingredients that are here? The way to do it is to use this $sign and some square brackets in which we can say ingredients. Okay, so basically what this is doing is telling to the computer display everything that is here, but when you come here, try to see if there is any sort of instruction inside this block that I need to execute. Okay, and inside we are telling it to just print whatever ingredient we are using. So as you can see here, it says I'm cooking some rice and defined. Let me say I'm cooking some rice with and defined. Okay, this means what? This means the computer doesn't know what ingredients we're talking about. I'm cooking some rice with what do you want me to cook the rice with? Okay, I want you to cook some rice with salt, pepper, oil, water. Okay, and this is what we see here. I'm cooking some rice with salt, pepper, oil, water, and then we can put a sort of a dot here so that we have a good English sentence. Alright, so here we've used this function and we've passed in some parameters so that the function can know, once it's running inside, can know where to find these ingredients. So to find these ingredients, we have to put them here, and then we have a response here. Now let's do something. We want to use some name so that we can get personal here, and we're going to do something in this function. So the function is cooking some rice with salt, pepper, oil, and water. Let us say we want to say, hello user, I'm cooking some rice with these ingredients. So let's do something like this. Hello user, I'm cooking some rice with ingredients. And now you'll see that it says here that user is not defined. This is once again a way of the computer to tell us that we don't know what your user is. Okay, now how do we get the user? To get the user, we can do something that's called declaring a variable. So let us say let user equal this. Okay, so now we don't have this error anymore. The computer knows where to find his user. The user is anything that we'll put inside of those quotes here. Now let us say Aoki is just a name. So hello Aoki. Let us put some sort of the comma here. Hello Aoki, I'm cooking some rice with salt, pepper, oil, and water. Okay, so this thing that's called a variable is something that can change. It's variable. Now to really show you that it can change, let's do something. Instead of Aoki, we're going to use your own name. So let us do something like prompt what, oh no, okay, so it's just running at the same time. I should have commented out first. Let me just cancel this and put some quotation marks here. So basically what this is telling the computer is don't execute the code yet, just wait. So here let us say what is your name? What is your name? And as you can see, this prompt thing here is also a function. So we have a name, we have some brackets, and then we have something inside. So it's also a function that we are calling. And what this will do is that it will ask us our name and then use our name and reply here. Now let's run the function. So we tell the computer we want you to use the function now, and then you can see here it says what is your name. So let us say my name is Benji. So Benji, okay, says hello Benji, I'm cooking some rice with salt, pepper, oil, and water. So basically this is what happens with programs and things like that. So obviously there is more to it, but essentially what you have to know is you have to tell the computer what you need it to do. You have to choose how you want to tell it to do it, and then you have to do it. You have to write the code, and you have to do a bunch of other things like test the code, test different situations and stuff like that, and then you can have a finally fully functioning program. So that's what is behind computer programs. That's what's behind hey Alexa, wake me up at 5 a.m. or hey rice cooker, cook me some rice, and things like that. Let's stop here and let's come back later. Different fields of work or industries have jargons. When learning something new, it's only normal to be overwhelmed with terms. Remember to take a deep breath and reword them in a way that makes sense to you. Most importantly, be patient with yourself. Let me share a few terms that you might come across in computer programming courses or tutorials. Let's start by IDE. It stands for Integrated Development Environment. It's basically a super text editor that allows you to write code and do some other related tasks. An algorithm, you can consider it as a meal recipe. It's a set of well-defined instructions that you give a computer so that it works as you intend. Debugging is really the art of finding the bug in your code and removing it. So a bug is a part of code that causes your program not to work properly. Even though Thomas Edison possibly coined this term first around the 1800s, the official first bug in computer was reported in 1947. Client and server. This is exactly as it sounds. The one asking for a drink is the client, and the one giving the drink is the server. When your browser goes to YouTube, it asks YouTube server to give it some videos, comments, and etc. Now the terminal is a more technical interface than the one we are used to. When you double-click a folder on your computer, it opens. In a terminal, you can write text that orders the folder to open and some other complicated things that the computer will understand. Now, let's say a word about mathematics and computer programming. Mathematics is vast. Some of its tools allow us to do simulations and consider alternatives without spending too much time, space, or actual material. Likewise, mathematics help computer programmers to devise ways to create programs in such a way that they accomplish more with less resources. That said, many of trusted mechanisms have been invented, and you can make use of them without necessarily spending years learning maths prior to becoming a programmer. But if you're considering advanced topics in programming, some intimacy with maths will be of great help. And if you need to learn, we live in a time where you can have access to great resources online. Like most journeys, becoming a programmer starts with the first step. Congratulations to you on taking the first one. Find my suggestions to other YouTube channels and free resources to continue taking more steps in your way to creating programs in the description section below. If there is one thing programming allows us to see, it's that no software is created out of chaos and at random. We create software for precise purpose, no matter what that purpose is. Our earth keeps moving, our hearts keep beating, the sun keeps shining. Science helps us understand that these things are very complex. Have you ever paused to think about why you were made? Who thought about designing you, and what was his purpose in designing you? I gave some thought about this question for myself, and I'll drop a link in the description if you're curious to know about what I understood. This is the first video of this channel, and I'm still trying to see how it will evolve. If you liked what you've seen, please share, subscribe, and let me know what you may need me to demystify next. I'm Harvey. Cheers, guys.